Well, how do you feel?
Sondra, what do you think?
I'm kind of nervous right now.
Why?
Kind of excited.
Why are you excited, Sondra?
Because Danny loves me.
You know, there's a lot more to my work and what I've done and my research into the mind of serial killers than just Danny Rolling sing a love song in court. First of all, what is love? Okay? And I don't want to compare the experience of Danny Rolling and me working together to two people who meet each other, date, get married, have kids, have a house. It's not like that, and it was never intended to be like that, and it wasn't anything like that. What it was I was a person who had been deeply impacted by the phenomena of serial murder. I still had questions. I worked with GJ Schaefer for 5 years, and I was still full of questions, didn't understand anything. Most of these people are impossible to deal with. They're very, very difficult and resist revealing themselves and will terrorize you, threaten you, shake you down, try and trick you. And Danny Rolling presented to me in such a way that he was very cooperative with me. He worked with my process. He respected me. He obeyed all my rules. When I meet a serial killer or a convicted felon contacts me and wants me to work with him on his story, I have my little rules that I laid. Now, the process that we went through was very difficult for even a simple, plain person to sit down and account for everything you've ever done that's wrong. Let's put it in sequence. The crimes were committed Labor Day 1990. He was arrested immediately, but only because he committed a high-profile armed robbery. They did not know that he was the murderer. He wasn't charged until June of 1992. At that point, 1 week after being charged, he contacted me. In his first letter, he offered me the exclusive rights to his story. Okay, so we didn't have any personal contact when he made that offer to me for me to work with him on his story. Okay, that was in July, that the first contact occurred, okay? Then we began to work. My understanding was that he was guilty, but that I did not want to be a witness at his murder trial because under the rule, if you're a witness, you can't attend the trial. And what we had to do was cover all the ground in his life leading up to everything but the murder. I began to learn how brutally this person had been abused. And I think that developed the first sympathetic reaction that I had to him, because at first I was I kind of laughed him off. In the process of our working on the story, we began to be closer because he was revealing the things that had hurt him, the different people that I was dealing with here. And I already knew about that from Schaefer because I was dealing with at least two people in Schaefer, where he always had two stories for everything. He was innocent, but he was guilty. He was guilty, but he was innocent. I want to say right away that never, with Danny Rolling, never had I ever encouraged him to go into his alter personality where he was homicidal. He's a Christian, and I worked with him in that aspect to urge him to remain much in prayer and to hold him in the light. And so my encounters with Danny were through that part of him that was able to deal with his spirituality and the good side of him that if you intend to stay in it, you have to begin to understand that you're dealing with different people at different times. The Florida State Prison authorities had, from the very beginning with Schaefer, had identified me as being dangerous to their corrupt practices there in Florida. I think it's been well established, and I'm not talking out of school or saying anything questionable here. It's been well established that there's a great deal of corruption going on there in Florida, particularly in the prison system. I had prisoners all over Florida writing to me telling about murders that had been done, about dope dealing and everything else going on behind bars, and they did not want me in that prison. Danny, he's on death row. Our relationship, I had sent through an official termination of our engagement because everything's in court due to the state suing me after they got their confessions, taking all my assets. So everything that we do is highly scrutinized. So I wrote out a document saying that we were no longer engaged back in 1996. We continue to correspond. But Danny is on death row. He's condemned. He wants to have a visitor. So he can only have one in Florida. So it was best that we let go of that. And at this point, he's had a couple of girls come in and visit him. As I was saying, that they withheld visitation because they knew that's what Danny wanted. The state brought me in and dangled me in front of Danny Rolling, got his confessions, and then sued me under the Son of Sam law, which was declared unconstitutional by the United States Supreme Court in 1991, prior to our even beginning this. And under that unconstitutional law, which is designed to keep felons from profiting, they have taken all of my assets, and they're still trying to take more. They still have me in court right now.